everyone, Mark and Joey here on a Monday morning after a phenomenal weekend of sports. We're now going to be doing our NHL show that I feel good about. You don't feel so good about.
Well,
I only feel good because I took them logically. I really wanted St. Louis to win last night. Another great hockey game right to the end. I mean, it got a little bit out of there, but for 2 periods it was 1-0. As I predicted, Boston was going to win last night, and I thought St. Louis was going to struggle with the expectations, the crowd, the Stanley Cup in the building, all of those kinds of things. I'd say that they didn't really. I think Boston just, what did I say yesterday in the show? Whoever gets the first goal is going to win. It's exactly what happened. Boston got it. They were able to play a tight checking game the rest of the way. They got that unfortunate second goal, unfortunate for St. Louis, and the goalie tipped a couple of times. It looked like a knuckleball going into the net under his blocker, and that pretty much ended it. They got a 3-0, then the Blues got a goal, but it was pretty much over by then. So, first goal in hockey, as it is in all sports, so important. Boston was able to get that. The absolute excitement that was going on in the city, just like Game 3, I thought was going to be tough on St. Louis. It was tough on St. Louis. However, Rask made some unbelievable saves, which is what we always need, is our goalie being phenomenal. So here we are. We're going back for Game 7.
Yeah, and I didn't disagree with you if you want to roll back the tape there, Pops. But, I always had reasons for why St. Louis could win.
Yeah.
And honestly, they were a bounce away, a phenomenal save away.
Yeah.
Like, freaking
That's
two
the way
for
hockey
Rask,
is.
man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the way. No, you're right. That's the way it is. I mean, Boston would say about every game they lose too.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, 5-1 is an unfair score, unfortunately.
No, totally, yeah.
But really, at the end of the day, Rask played amazing, especially early, and wouldn't let St. Louis back in it. But St. Louis really just, it kind of slipped away there after that second goal. It felt like, but they almost had it done, and I just wish they scored first. You're right, that happened. But Game 7, I feel very confident.
Yeah, it's going to be a big game. I think that we're both going to have confidence in the team. As I've said before, Boston's kind of my logical choice. We want St. Louis to win. I wish it had been last night. It would have been fantastic for the city. A team that's never won a cup, a team that the last time they were even in it was 1970. Oh, I got to tell a little bit of story about that. I was watching the news last night, watching the sports last night. And do you know how much a ticket to the NHL Championship Finals cost in 1970?
No.
$4. So there you go. And that's how long ago it was that St. Louis was in the finals. Those are now thousands of dollars of tickets. And they were $4. So there you go. That's what 1970 looked like for all us old guys. Seems so much easier. But then again, we only made about $50 a week. So $4 was still expensive. It always is, no matter what time you're in.
Yeah. But it's actually the highest average ticket price out of any sporting event.
Yeah.
That has a series, of course. In the last 10 years. So very good stuff there. But yeah, St. Louis last night did not get done. But you're talking about you're being confident going into Boston. The way teams have won in this
crazy
NHL finals has been truly amazing. St. Louis is the way team. I like them on the road. No pressure. You're right about the crowd last night. You're right about the team scores first would win because the other team would get anxious. It was either going to go St. Louis would score, be so pumped they're going to win, or if Boston scores, St. Louis would kind of cave. Which didn't really happen, but they couldn't get any goals. And so when the second goal
shut them down.
They did
really,
cave.
yeah.
But yeah, back now in Boston, not necessarily the same thing because the veteran team is home. But the team who hasn't been here before is on the road. They have a great home away record, and they've won actually 2 out of 3 games on the road in this series. And Boston can't be too common because they've lost obviously 2 out of 3 games. But
I must tell you that we have a history of Game 7s with Boston. This is why with Toronto. We have a history with them, our Toronto team. So I have a little bit right in my gut here that the Leafs have lost 3 Game 7s and whatever number, but 2 in the last 2 years. So Boston is that type of team. This is when experience comes to the forefront, is in these Game 7s. We've experienced it ourselves both times going into Game 7 the last few years. We've actually been on a high going in there. We actually have gotten the lead both times, 1-4-1 and 1-3-1 or something like that. And they've come back and beat us. And they are a tenacious team, an experienced team. I fully expect they're going to win Game 7, no matter what happens early in that game. But I think Boston, they just have that ability to do that. I think St. Louis, again, is going to be more nervous now. This is the one they had in their hands. They had the shot at home. I think they're going to be down about that. I think they're going to be nervous about it. And I think we're going to see Boston win Game 7.
I disagree. I think they're going to play free in Game 7. I think at this point now they got nothing to lose. They're not expected to go into Boston and win.
Yeah.
So they'll be a little bit more free.
That's true.
the Boston crowd actually isn't an advantage because if you start playing bad in your Boston, they'll boo you.
Yeah,
So
it doesn't take much.
I don't think it's an advantage for Boston at all. I think it's proven in this series that the away team has the advantage because these crowds are so tough and the cup means so much to each of these cities. For Boston, it's more dominance. That's why I said they boo you if you're playing bad because their baseball team wins, their football team wins. They expect you to win. St. Louis, the home crowd was tough because they just want you to win
Well,
so badly. They're so desperate.
Not really tough.
Well,
but
now
excited.
they got to go on the road. I think they win this game because I think they play free. It's not today. It's tomorrow, I think. But regardless of it, my biggest worry is this. The last time the Blues were in the finals, they lost. Their goaltender got MVP.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like it might be the same thing.
Yeah.
But here's the most important point I think I can make.
Just so you know, that goaltender was Glenn Hall, one of the greatest goalies to ever play the game. So it's a little bit different than Binghamton, but it could happen.
Binghamton needs one win to break the record for rookie wins.
Yeah.
He was insane during the regular season, insane during the playoffs. Here's my biggest thing: is St. Louis has always answered the call after big losses, not close losses, but big losses.
Yeah. Like the Raptors doing in basketball.
Yeah, they've answered after every big loss. They've gone back and answered the call. They lost big last night. I think they move on. I think they go, man, it just hasn't been our thing at home. Like it was a good enough game, but they outplayed us, and it's just not their thing at home. We get to go on the road. We get to be the underdogs. We get to play free. I think they win Game 7. They bring the cup home to St. Louis. I think it's a lock. But on last night's game, what I need to see improved is more confidence on the offensive end. I think it was pretty good there, but Boston's really good at crowding the net. Rask is playing good. Boston's defense has made some great saves, ironically, in Rask's crease. So how do you get it? I don't know for sure. But there's not much you could do on the offensive end, I don't think, besides be more aggressive, have guys more in front of the net, and you got to get a bounce to go your way. I think it's time for you guys to get the bounces and get a goal to go by Rask.
And they must score first. Boston's one of the best lockdown teams in the league. If not the best lockdown team in the league. If St. Louis goes down 1-0, it's all over. So watch the early part of the game. St. Louis must score first.
And the key is scoring first.
Then Boston has to keep playing their offensive game.
Right, yeah. And you got to score first, you're right, because Boston can't play lockdown. And the key to that, actually, and this is what I was getting to, I couldn't remember, your power play is awful, St. Louis. And last night, that was the difference. You had a power play before Boston could not score, and then Boston gets past play. They do score. You have to get a power play goal. They've given you opportunities, especially early in the games. You have not capitalized on them. Your power play needs to be better. It has to score.
Yeah.
Binghamton cannot let in 1 goal or 2 goals every game and lose. You got to score on these power plays. They give you a chance. And last night was the perfect definition. You had a power play, couldn't score. Boston got the power play. They immediately scored. Come on, St. Louis. That's what you got to do. But you're right. The team that scored first in this series has won, I think, almost probably every game. And they need to do that in Game 7. It's going to be a lot of fun. You can't ask for anything better than Game 7 in the NHL playoffs.
Well, yeah, and every playoff we look for that Game 7. It's so amazing. And we're going to see this in hockey as well. It's a great way to finish. I want St. Louis to win. We talked about this. I think it's great for the city. There's a lot of Canadians on that team. We got lots of reason to cheer for St. Louis, and I'll be cheering for them. My logic says Boston. But it would be fantastic for that to happen, and we need to have that kind of series, which has happened. Because we've talked about before, all the number 1 seeds went out in the first round, which shows some parity in the league, I would say. But we need to have a great finish to the season. That's what people are going to remember. I'm glad I went to Game 7. I feel bad for St. Louis. They didn't win at home. But Game 7s are what playoffs are all about. It's great for the league. It's 2 American teams going at it for Game 7 here. It's good for us, for the league in the U.S. as well. So we're going to look forward to Game 7. It's always very exciting. We'll be back the day of Game 7 to give you those updates, anything we're hearing. Oh, shout out to Chara. I want to tell you, man, these guys make a lot of money. Everybody can talk about that. But hockey players have got to be the toughest guys there is in sport. I mean, that injury he took, that puck in the face, I think he lost teeth. I think he's got stitches. He's had to wear a cage. And what does he do? Right next game, he's out there playing. If he can move, he's going to play.
Shout out to Chara because he's a beast. He's out there playing, and he's a big advantage to them with that long reach that he has, being 6'7". But I don't know how I feel about this. I get it's hockey, but I don't know if you noticed this. The amount of times guys are now punching him in the jaw in front of the net.
I know, that's hockey.
I don't know if I give Chara even more credit for that. Give him more credit. He's toughing it out. I would not be being physical, but he's still physical. Yeah. He's in front of the net. He's punching guys. He's face washing guys, and the first thing they're doing is trying to punch him right in the jaw.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So, and he's taking it like a man. I saw it a couple times last night, but yeah, you know, these hockey players, man, just wait for the list of injuries that come out once this is over. That's why these teams have trouble going back-to-back cups, because they're almost all are in surgery.
Well, yeah.
After they win or lose the Stanley Cup.
And this is
it's amazing.
82 game schedule, then 4 rounds of playoffs.
Yeah, and you hear basketball players complain about it banged up, blah, blah. First of all, they make way more than hockey players, which is a different issue because they bring in a lot more, so good for them.
Yeah.
But what hockey players go through is way tougher, and it's something else. But anyways, Game 7 coming up. Yeah. We're on different sides here, but we're going to be real excited. We just hope that it's a great Game 7. Hopefully a close one for the hockey fans, and I know a lot of people want St. Louis come on top on this one. Probably most of America, because we all hate Boston.
Well, I think we are on the same side in cheering. We're on a different side in analyzing who might win the game. I will be cheering for St. Louis, even though I think Boston's going to win it from my background trying to pick winners. So you're trying to be impassionate when you're trying to pick a winner. That's why I think Boston's the one. I want to see St. Louis win. It's great for the city. If you've never won a cup, man, it's like when the Cubs won the World Series. It's just has to happen, and it's so fantastic. So let's look for that. Like I say, my honest choice is the Bruins, but I'll be cheering for St. Louis. I hope we get that to happen, and we'll be back just before the 7th game.